Speaker, I wish to contribute to debate in support of the Protection and Recovery Bill 2025. The bill establishes an act that provides a core government provider of identity protection and recovery services and certain fraud control services within New South Wales. The functions in the bill are conferred on the Secretary of the Department of Customer Service and may be delegated to staff in the ID Support New South Wales Business Unit. ID Support already provides critical identity protection and recovery support to the people of New South Wales, and this bill will consolidate and expand on its functions in an ongoing way. Speaker, we're hearing on a regular basis about large-scale data compromises, not only here in New South Wales, but throughout Australia and indeed on a global scale. There have been some very high-profile breaches, including Optus, Medibank, Latitude, Australian National University, Eastern Health, Service New South Wales, Melbourne Heart Group, Tasmanian Ambulance, Australian Parliament House, Northern Territory Government and West Australian Government. These data breaches in Australia are on the rise, particularly in the financial and healthcare industries. In an effort to disrupt this negative trend, the Australian Government has revised its cybersecurity frameworks and policies to strengthen resilience against nation-state threat actors. But we cannot solely rely on the federal government's cybersecurity initiatives. Even the Australian Signals Directorate admits that proposed security frameworks only raise the baseline of security. It's up to each individual and business to continue lifting this standard with additional data breach prevention controls. It is imperative that we as a New South Wales Government need to keep up with these ever-emerging threats. Just in December 2024, cyber criminals and identity thieves were put on notice thanks to a new partnership between New South Wales Police and ID Support New South Wales, which leverages the expertise of the agencies to fight cybercrime and create a faster and more effective response, streamlining the sharing of information to fight identity theft. The partnership heralds a new era in efforts to protect the public from the ever-growing threat of identity fraud, data breaches, scams and other types of cybercrime. Efforts between State Crime Command's Cybercrime Squad and ID Support New South Wales saw 959 individuals identified as being potentially impacted, all of whom were contacted to alert them of the compromise and supported in taking steps to prevent it happening again. This is a real example of how it can work. ID Support New South Wales with Cyber Security New South Wales helps people restore their stolen or misused identity documents and shares free resources and tools with individuals, groups and small businesses to protect against identity theft and data breaches. With a no wrong doors policy, if someone fears their identity has been stolen, ID Support New South Wales should be the first call that they make. As I've outlined, large-scale data compromises are the new normal, and many people in New South Wales and the broader Australian community would have been affected by data compromise in the past few years. Data compromises pose a risk to not just individuals but businesses, and they can find that once an organisation they have transacted with has been breached and personal information has been accessed, their identities are taken over and loans or phone accounts are usually opened in their names. We know that data compromises contribute to increased scam risks too. Even if just a person's contact details are compromised, scammers can use that information to try and trick people to part with their money or give them more personal information. ID Support provides practical help to individuals, government agencies and private sector organisations when they're impacted. The data protection and recovery functions at the proposed Section 10 of the bill consolidate ID Support's critical role in assisting public sector agencies, private entities and individuals to prevent and respond to data compromises. The proposed Section 10 allows ID Support to do two overarching things. One is to advise and make recommendations to mitigate the risk of harm to individuals when a personal data compromise occurs, and to increase the resilience and protection against personal data compromises. Two, it responds to personal data compromises by advising on recommendations for actions to replace or reissue identity documents, protect and recover personal information, advising on risk or harm to impacted individuals, and notifying impacted individuals and providing information to public sector agencies or private sector entities to help them notify those individuals involved. Increasing resilience and protection against personal data compromises through education and outreach is a fundamentally key way that ID Support helps the New South Wales community. ID Support has been targeted and strategic about its education and outreach, ensuring it is engaging with people in the community who are most vulnerable to personal data compromise and identity fraud. We know that older New South Wales citizens have faced challenges with data compromise and subsequent scams from people who have obtained their information online. And I'm sure every member in this place will have a story about a resident who's come into their office and have been victims of such activity. It is important that digital transactions are accessible and safe for everyone in our community, including those who did not grow up doing their banking and paying their bills online or on a device. In March this year, ID Support attended the New South Wales Seniors Festival Expo, which attracted over 20,000 people. It provided an opportunity for older Australians to learn directly from ID Support about how to recognise online scams and remain safe online. As part of this event, ID Support also held an identity tea, which gave ID Support staff the opportunity to hear from and give advice to New South Wales seniors on a range of matters, from concerns about how to set and manage strong passwords to what to do when they receive a scam text or email. And that should also include phone calls, should I say, Mr. Speaker. Sadly, many seniors at the event reported being targeted by impersonation scams, especially those pretending to be from MyGov. Scammers can be sophisticated actors who use a range of techniques to convince their victims that they are someone else. ID Support is giving New South Wales seniors tools to detect and protect against this kind of behaviour. ID Support is also ensuring we are supporting young people before they begin transacting online. Those aged 14 to 18 are particularly vulnerable to personal data compromise because in the space of a few years, the amount of information about them can increase rapidly as they enter the workforce and receive a tax file number, when they're opening their first bank accounts, obtaining their learner or provisional licences or a passport, and enrolling in tertiary education. We know that as young people start receiving forms of identification, they become more vulnerable to identity theft and fraud. Fraudsters have recognised this vulnerability and may target them to exploit their lack of knowledge. Any young person and their parents or caregivers can access ID Support's Keeping Your Identity Safe e-learning module for young people aged 14 to 18, which provides them with the tools and guidance to spot scams and protect their personal identity and information. It is interactive, has quizzes, videos and case studies designed to help students from 9 to 12 to develop Years 9 to 12 to develop skills to navigate the online world safely. ID Support recently ran engagement sessions in Fairfield and Cabramatta during Youth Week. ID Support's work is vital to ensuring young people can start their adult lives with identity documents they need and the knowledge and confidence to protect themselves against the identity theft. We know that people in culturally and linguistically diverse communities can also be particularly vulnerable to identity misuse. And New South Wales Digital Inclusion Strategy was released this month. This initiative is to support a multilingual campaign to promote broader community understanding on how to protect themselves against and recover from online scams and data breaches. And ID support is a key part of this valuable initiative. Speaker, I thank the Minister for bringing this bill. I think it is something that we need to do to keep step with what is happening out there in cyberspace, and I commend the bill to the House.
Hear, hear.